everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here to talk about something. Well, first off, what happened with the full moon week was I watched a few of them, and I basically, they were so bad that it was hard to keep watching them. They were so bad. And, it really irritates me, like, internally when I watch these bad movies where it feels like they got all this money, they got all these actors, and look what they did with it. Like, it really, like, as a filmmaker myself, it really bothers me. More than a lot of things. Like, it's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, to see what these people do with the resources that they get, and how they just, completely take advantage. But anyway, that would be like its own video. But this is actually gonna be something a little different. So I came up with another topic for 10 movies, where I pick a topic with 10 movies and I watch all 10 movies. And the topic that I landed on was Australian movies. Yep, Australian movies, mate. I thought, we haven't really reviewed any foreign films on this channel, basically, and I should review some. And I thought, it'd be really fun to jump into some Australian films. Because, I knew of a couple. I knew, like, I've heard of them before. I've heard how good they were. And I thought, maybe one day. And I thought, today is the day to do this, So I watched 10 Australian movies. It was pretty fun. There were a few that were hard to get through and tested me, but they didn't insult me. And on another note, I'd like to quickly get this out of the way. Basically, what happened was some bitch from Florida, some random bitch from Florida, name starts with an E. She decided to message me and tell me to take my top 30 beautiful actresses video down, because in the video I make a joke about fisting Jessica Stroup. Yeah. Because she's on a show called Iron Fist. And so I said, while I was watching Iron Fist, I was thinking about fisting her. It's a joke. And also, you're not the owner of this channel. And so and this goes for everybody too. If you ever go in the comments and try to tell me how to do my channel, I'm gonna fucking ban you faster than fucking anybody on the whole entire YouTube platform, motherfucker. Because you do not have the right to tell me what I can and can't say. If you don't like what I say about fisting Jessica Stroup, then fuck off! Okay. Got that over with. And I decided, because she had to talk about this fisting business, that from now on, when I do videos on my own, I'm going to talk about the fistability rating of all the actresses that I see. Honestly, it never came across my mind to fist Jessica Stroup. I did think she was really hot. Even if I had thought of fisting her, that's, who cares? Like, I think that everyone has had a fantasy about actresses once in a while. Like, no one has ever had a fantasy about fisting any actress or something like that. I couldn't even fist Jessica Stroup if she wanted me to because of COVID. Do you know how nasty that would be if I, fisting somebody? You know how many germs that would give? If anything, I would want to fist Jessica Himwick more. Why would I want to fist the skinnier one? I would want to fist the thicker one. Okay. You notice how, like, I'm laughing. Like, if I'm laughing, do you really think that I'm being 100% serious? Why so serious? These fucking haters. These fucking haters try to tell me how to do my channel. It's just come on my channel to watch one video, thumbs it down, watch only 5 minutes of a 30-minute video, and then complain to me like you're the owner of the channel. I mean, Jesus Christ, the nerve on you, bitch. Anyway, so yeah, as I said, as a result, you can thank her later if you want, I'm not going to say her real name. I would, if I could, legally, I would tell you, you to go, tell her to go fuck herself personally, but, but anyway, from now on, I am going to mention, for every female character I ever see on a personal video, without Safi, I am going to talk briefly about the fistability rating of each and every female character I see. So, for all these Australian movies, for the most part, we're going to talk about how fistable each of these female characters are. Because I think it's something that we actually need to ponder. I really feel bad for people watching this video for the first time, like, oh, who the fuck is this? Safi and Marco just in a movies. Who is this guy? Like, just imagine, this is the first ever video on my channel you watch. I mean, other channels say far worse shit, too. Like, you think I'm the only channel talking about fisting women? You're it's just ridiculous. I mean, but yeah, anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. We're going to get on to the top, the 10 Australian movies that I watched and I'm going to review. I'm just a little flabbergasted right now because, the nerve of some people, So, the worst Australian movie I watched, I'm going to basically rank them. So, I'm going to go from worst to best. And I'm going to briefly, quote unquote briefly, because, on this channel, briefly means like fucking 10 minutes. I'm going to briefly review, talk about each movie, and that's it. So, yeah, here we go. My number 10 is Gallipoli. I hope that's how you say it. Gallipoli. I hope that's the right pronunciation. This movie, I watched it because honestly, I was kind of in the mood for a war movie. I thought, it has Mel Gibson. It's gonna be a great war movie. And then I watched it, and slowly, as an hour went by, I realized this isn't even a fucking war movie. I mean, they start off, and it's all about this running business. Running, sprinting, sports. It's about the main character disguising himself so that he can pass as being above 21 when he's 18. I mean, it's a very slow-paced, non-war movie. I mean, there's basically only 15 minutes of war in this 2-hour and 30-minute long film. The rest of the film is like adventure stuff. It is very entertaining, though. Like, I really wish that it would have gone full adventure instead, because I really liked seeing the two of them. Well, actually, no, I didn't like that. There was this one sequence where they have to travel across a 50-mile stretch of desert just to get to this other city to enlist into the army. And it was really, I did not like this film. It was a Debbie Downer. It was very depressing at the end. it was sort of like 1917, but it has an extremely awful ending, whereas 1917 had this like hopeful ending, but then the hopeful ending was sort of dismissed, and it was sort of like a softer but still unhappy ending. But 1917 did such a better job with the whole thing. I mean, it's basically Dead Poets Society, but set in the war. And I liked the acting a lot. I thought all the acting was great. It's just I didn't like it. I really didn't. I'll never watch it again, honestly. There was some really funny scenes, some really entertaining adventure scenes, but it's just not worth it. It's supposed to be a war movie, and instead, yeah. And then my number 9 is the Wiggles movie, which I know you guys are like, Marco, you watched the Wiggles movie? Yeah, I did. And I thought, it's going to be really short, and I thought it would be really fun to see sort of like a Pee-wee's Big Adventure type of movie, but with the Wiggles in it. Well, I couldn't even get that. Because this movie isn't even a Wiggles movie. It's a Dorothy the Dinosaur movie. It's all about Dorothy the Dinosaur and on her birthday, and this other guy named Wally the Magician, and Wally the Magician looks like Alex from A Clockwork Orange, which doesn't, which I don't know, it was just really dopey. It wasn't really a Wiggles movie. There were all these unnecessary songs, too. It sort of exposed my biggest pet peeve with musicals, is that you go into a scene, and it's like, oh, God, another song. And you go into another scene, oh, another song. And it's like that same sort of just hitting you on the head with these unnecessary songs that you can just tell they don't add anything to the plot. I would have much rather have seen some sort of a story with the Wiggles are hardly in the movie. I mean, if you're a fan of the Wiggles, you're not going to like this movie. You're going to be like, what? But overall, I mean, it's not a bad movie. I mean, I think it's an okay kids movie. It doesn't have anything bad in it. I mean, it's stupid. And I really think that we should be holding kids movies to a higher standard nowadays, honestly, because there's some really great kids movies like The Wizard, Problem Child, The Peanut Butter Solution, and those movies are just so good. The Goonies, and it's like, why don't we hold all kids movies to that standard? Why do we give the bad ones an excuse of, oh, it's just a kids movie, so it's okay. I don't agree with that type of mentality. But that being said, it wasn't that bad. So yeah. Number 8 is Summerfield. This was a last minute thing. I had to replace a lot of the movies on this list, but yeah, Summerfield, ugh. I'm really negative on this movie, honestly. The whole movie is basically built around the fact that it has a very shocking twist at the end. They even say that in the tagline. Nothing will prepare you for the twist at the end of this movie. Well, the twist was trash. I saw the twist coming from a mile away. The twist wasn't even that disturbing to begin with. It wasn't even that horrifying. I mean, there's so many other twists that would have been scarier, that would have been better. There were some good things in this movie. I thought that, the fistability thing. I thought that, the main actress in this movie, the mom, the one who's effing her brother, she's like I would say she's like 8 fists out of 10. I think, yeah, 8 fists out of 10. And then he's got this innkeeper, and I think she's like an 8 fists out of 10 too. And so yeah, I think they'd both be really fistable. And It's so stupid. But I don't even know why I'm doing it. I'm just doing it because when people piss me off, it doesn't do any good. But yeah, I mean, this movie, I was really bored watching this movie, and I was like, okay, it'll be fine if the twist is good, but the twist wasn't even good. It was basically like the Stepford Wives, but without all that great atmosphere, all of that great horror, all of that great acting. I mean, the movie is just so slow. I mean, there's a whole sequence where he's got to get back to his car and he's on the beach. And so he's literally got to scale a mountain to get back up to go to his car. And, God, it's just so boring. And then this twist happens. The one twist that I did like, though, is at the very end of the movie, a character comes back who you never thought would come back. And I really liked that a lot when he came back. I thought that was a great twist, actually. But I thought the main character was kind of stupid, too. Because, spoiler alert, he sees a picture of this missing guy hanging out with the family. And he knows that he's missing. And he knows there's something going on. And still, he continues to hang out with this family. In fact, he initiates the hanging out. He asks out the mom. He does all this stuff. He's like clinging on to them harder than he was in the beginning. And I thought, God, you're stupid, dude. Like, you get what you fucking deserve, as the Joker said, But I would say, though, I mean, it's not that bad. It's just, it irritates me that the whole movie was just sort of building up to this very anticlimactic thing. Number 7 is the Coca-Cola Kid. This movie, I would describe it as sort of There Will Be Blood meets Strange Brew. In a bad way, though. It's a very disjointed movie. It's a very mixed bag. I liked a lot of stuff in it. Like, I liked the main actor. I thought he was very funny because he was so over the top with his accent and everything. He has this, like, Texas accent, and he's sort of like a quote-unquote Texas badass. There's this one hilarious part where this guy has a gun, and he pours out the tea over the fire, and he's like, so it's about to get serious now, or something like that. Like, he gets serious, and then the next thing we see is this guy is roped to the back of his car, and he's basically almost lynching him. he's I mean, that was badass. That was so great. Or no, he was attached to the horse or something. I can't remember. But that was just so awesome. And there were other great moments like that too. Like, I really liked the parts when he had the secretary, and she's horrible. I mean, she's very inappropriate. She's very creepy. She has this sort of like stalkerish obsession with the main character. And there's this one part where they're at a meeting, and she has like her feet up and her legs up, and he's like, your feet belong on the floor. And he pushes her feet down on the floor. I thought, God, that is so anti everything that we see in movies usually, with these, when you have like a love interest and the main character has to be interested. No, this guy despises her, and he hates how she follows him around. She's got a fistability rating though of like, but to be honest, like, I think that she would want to fist you. Like, that's how creepy she is. She follows him. She sets up this elaborate prank for some reason where she has her friends dress up in drag and then dance with him and kiss him, which is basically sexual assault. And then she goes to his motel room, and she basically takes off her clothes. Very inappropriate woman. and I really did not like her character. But she could have been likable. That's the thing. Like, she didn't have to do all of this pushy stuff for me to like her. Like, she was already, like, cute in the beginning. Like, I thought she was cute. And her daughter comes in, and oh yeah, this part's hilarious. Her daughter comes in, and she's like, "What's your name?" And this and the main character, just out of nowhere, he's like, "They call me the CocaCola Kid." And I was like, "What the fuck? What is this?" I mean, just so many great moments like that, but it's just such a random movie. Like, too much of the plot is about the romance. If more of the plot was about, it's basically about this guy from Coca-Cola going to the small town in Australia and buying out this guy's company, or basically creating a business partnership. So it's a lot like There Will Be Blood. And I wished it would have been more about that instead of being about this very creepy girl who really is creepy. I mean, she's a 10 out of 10 on the fistability scale, even though she'd want to fist you, but she is creepy. Number 6 is Son of a Gun. This is, I basically watched this because it has Ewan McGregor in it. I was really excited, honestly, to watch it because of him, and I was not disappointed. I really liked him in this movie. It was basically a very cliche gangster movie, where, you have this gangster figure. He becomes a father figure to the new guy who wants to be a gangster, or who has to be a gangster in this situation. But I really liked some stuff in this movie. I liked some of the action. I liked a lot of the scenes. There was this scene towards the end which I really liked. Which, I don't know if I should give it away, but it basically... Well, I guess it doesn't give anything away. Ewan, he's at the laundromat, and he's doing his laundry, and he's just standing there, and he's staring at the laundry going in circles. And that moment just really spoke to me, because it was almost like showing like this evil cycle of things that happen in this movie. And like, even though the stuff in the movie, it's very cliche and predictable, you have this forced romance with this woman who no one gives a shit about. Basically, she's just there to create conflict between Ewan and the young guy. But she's hot. I mean, it's Alicia Vikander. She's like I would say she's like a 7 out of 10 on the fistability scale. She's Swedish and everything, which is cool, because I'm mostly Swedish, actually. I bet you didn't know that. But I don't know, oh yeah, I loved the theme music. I loved the music for this movie. It's still in my head, believe it or not, right now. Like, I can remember it all right now. But yeah, it was just too by the books for me. I do think, though, they can make a sequel. I'm not giving anything away about what happens, but there could be a sequel. I will say one thing. There was one hilarious quote which I wrote down. Basically, this guy dies. They have to burn the car with him in it, and he's like, bye, and he's like, where you're going, they don't give pearl. that was like either the most mean thing to say, or just the most honest and hilarious thing. I mean, it was just hilariously, like, serious. Where you're going, they don't give pearl. Number 5 is Dead Calm. I mean, not Dead Calm. Oh, shit. Number 5 is The Club. This is a sports movie, partially, and a lot of the time it's about this club of... It's such a unique movie. And I actually really enjoyed this movie, the second half of this movie. It gets really good. I don't want to give too much away, but it's about these football players in Australia, and it's about basically the trading aspect. You know, the people behind up in the state. It's hard to describe, but basically, I don't even know how to describe. I'm sorry. But basically, it's people in charge of the players, in charge of the picking the captain. It's a very good movie towards the end. We have like some really funny scenes. Like there's this scene where the main star athlete is like making up this fake story about how he slept with his mother, and then the dad comes home and discovers it and kills himself. And that was hilarious. But I mean, the main guy, he did a great job too. This guy with the mustache that you see on the poster, I really liked a lot of the stuff in this movie. The sad thing is though, is that there's about an hour of this movie where nothing really happens, and it's very slow, and you don't really understand what's going on. But it gets really good. I mean, there's this great lighting in these like dark rooms. I mean, it was just like I was shocked at how good it was. But then it ends out of nowhere. I mean, just this ending that just slaps you, and it's just so abrupt. I was like, God, it's gonna end there. Oh, God. But still, I highly recommend this movie. It's on Amazon Prime. Go check it out. Number 4 is Dead Calm. That's right, number 4, with Nicole Kidman, Sam Neill, and Billy Zane. This is just a very guilty pleasure movie. It's basically sort of a lot of the time it treads water. Nothing really happens a lot of the time in this movie until like the last 40 minutes. I mean, it's very, like, I was thinking, like, oh, we're going to be tricked into thinking this movie is going to be boring or something like that. And then there's going to be all these surprises and things, and stuff's going to happen all over the place. It's going to be very horrific. Well, there are some things in this movie that work. Something that I particularly remember is on Billy Zane's ship that he was originally on. I loved all that sequence with Sam Neill. With Sam Neill on that ship. And basically, while he's on there, we hear the footage in the background, this VHS footage of Billy Zane basically taking a video of him killing these people and him going insane and everything. And I thought that was really well done because it was just very creepy the way that you had that video tape quality, and it was like, why did this guy go crazy? I mean, what really happened? I mean, it's hard to really. And then by the end of the movie, he becomes a supervillain. I mean, he turns into a supervillain. There's this really kind of frustrating and uncomfortable rape scene that goes on for like 10 minutes because basically she has to pretend like she likes him, and it's really gross. I mean, it should be hot because we're seeing Nicole Kidman naked. I mean, you get to see like her full body and everything if you like Nicole Kidman. Personally, I'm not a huge fan, personally, but she's a great actress, but it's just really uncomfortable to watch, honestly. But the thing is, though, is that the reason why this movie really fails is because of Billy Zane. Billy Zane in this movie is not scary at all. He's hilarious. He's just just funny, a goofball, and like it gets really funny to the point of where I was just laughing at him, and I really didn't feel any suspense or horror at all. But I really like Sam Neill in this movie. Oh yeah, there was this thing at the beginning which really pissed me off. It was hilarious too. Nicole Kidman's driving. She gets in a crash, and the baby flies out the front window. It's hilariously bad, and it doesn't look real at all. It looks so goofy and cartoony. But yeah, Dead Calm is my number 4. My number 3 is actually, I loved this movie, The Adventures of Barry McKenzie. This movie is basically about this Australian guy and his quote-unquote aunt, and they travel to England. And it's basically about him going on adventures in England. He goes with all these different people, and he meets all these different people. He gets into these bad situations, and I really like this movie a lot. I mean, I highly recommend this movie. It's so funny. It's so just genuinely just a fun, good movie. The main guy who plays Barry McKenzie, he does such a good job. He's probably one of the best comedic protagonists I've ever seen in a film. There's this one part where he basically misreads this sex book, and he pours curry from a can all over his dick before he's about to fuck this actress that he met on set, and it's just hilarious. I mean, he's opening up the can, and he's pouring the entire thing. But the one thing though that I didn't like was the Australian slang. I mean, it's not the fact that I don't like it. It's the fact that it was hard for me to understand sometimes what he was saying. And so a lot of the times it was like, oh, haha, like, it's funny, but, like, I don't really understand what you're saying, but it's still really funny. But, yeah, I love this movie. This is a perfect movie, honestly. It is a damn perfect movie. Number 2 is Picnic at Hanging Rock. Wow, this movie, it's very depressing. Let's just start off with that. It's made by the Dead Poets Society guy. That guy likes to be depressed all the time, apparently. I'm surprised that he hasn't gone to Hanging Rock and jumped off of it yet. Because, I mean, he makes the most depressing movies you could think of. I mean, this movie is so ugly and dark without actually showing anything. It's basically about 4 schoolgirls and a teacher, or it might be 3 schoolgirls and a teacher, and they all disappear out of nowhere. And sorry everybody, it was just, that happens all the time out here. It was extremely creepy, because it's like, what happened? Like, it's really uncomfortable to think about, like, just so many, because the thing is that, like, they don't really give you that many hints, but they give you enough to where basically it's like everything possible that you could think of could have happened to them. And it's so disturbing to think about. But I love this movie. It's such a magical film. It's such that sounds wrong. It's such a different movie. It's basically like, you know those historical photographs where you go online and you see, like, that one quote-unquote creepy historical photograph, and you're like, what's the story behind that picture? Well, basically, this movie is like if they took a historical photograph like that and made a story around it. Sorry. It's hard to think about, and I might never watch it again, honestly. I think that's the one reason why it's not number 1. It's very hard to watch. And my number 1 is Road Games. Yes, Road Games. It's a PG movie, if you can believe that. It's basically about this trucker guy this American trucker in Australia, and he's taking meat across the country. And while he's doing that, he basically encounters a serial killer. And the serial killer starts following him, starts framing him for all the murders, and it's really dark. I mean, this movie has some of the best lighting in movie history. There are points where it's like, how did they do that? Like, this is so good, such good lighting. And it was such a dark movie without being rated R. There's this particular music in this movie where they took a couple of just guitar strings and just went like, dun, 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 dun. Like, just these couple little strings. They would play that every time, like, you come across, like, a body or, like, the killer or something. Like, it was really creepy and scary, to be honest. Like, this is an actual scary movie, if I'm being honest. It is that good, though. It's basically like a Hitchcock movie, set in Australia. I mean, it's that good. And the way that it ends, too. I mean, the ending is just so good with just, like, the perfect storm. Like, the perfect storm between all the different characters we encounter throughout the movie. I genuinely think this is a perfect movie, and I am actually considering reviewing it for October, for the horror movie month. But yeah, there you go. That's my rankings for the top 10 Australian movies that I watched the past week. In fact, I actually watched them in like I actually watched them within like 4 or 5 days. 10 movies, all 10 of these movies. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're upset that I said something about fisting girls, and go fuck yourself, okay? If you like this video, though, please thumbs this video up and subscribe to my channel. And be sure to leave a comment, share this video with your friends and family who you feel comfortable sharing it with. And so, yeah, goodbye, everybody.